If you've watched any amount of videos I've posted, you can kind of tell I have this sort of disdain for structured religions and sort of organised religions and sects. And recently I got suggested to watch Unorthodox on Netflix, which I watched it through. It's so good. I really recommend watching it. Only 4 episodes, so it's an easy watch, fast watch, but it's so good. It's basically about this woman living in the Hasidic community in Brooklyn who just wants to get away. And she tries to run away to Berlin, and then they send people after her to bring her back because, if you don't know, the Hasidics are basically the ultra-extreme Orthodox Jews. They, follow the Torah and the Talmud word by word. It is literal law to them. Everything has to go by that way, and they have an incredibly strict way of life. Every rule has to be followed, and you're not allowed to leave, basically. Well, you are allowed to leave, but you don't feel like you're allowed to leave. So if you want to leave, you have to literally escape, basically, and they try to bring her back. And watching this, I did some research into, the Hasidic communities out in New York, and then that brought me down, the usual carousel to other communities like that, the Mormon community, the Amish community, and so on and so forth. There's one in Israel that isn't Jewish. They're sort of Buddhist, but they live in sort of a similar way. I can't remember the name of that community. It was the one that Bernie Sanders went to stay with for a while when he was younger. But basically, these communities are so disconnected and forcibly removed from society that they literally are living in their own bubble, their own world. And it is crazy how far apart we and them become. It's literally living in separate universes from street to street. And religion and sects of religion are the only thing that can do that. There is nothing else in society, in culture, that could govern such a huge gap in living, in way of living. I like to describe it as a dictatorship, but the leader is the big magic sky cloud daddy. There's no, vicious, actual, right-fisted, iron-fisted man holding you down. There's that fella. And he's pushing so oppressively, so forcefully on through these ancient books written 2,000 years ago, that they so blindly and obligatorily follow that they become so constricted in on themselves that rather than progressing themselves, they're only restricting themselves and isolating themselves. They're not becoming their own world. They're pulling away and drawing back from their own potential. They're not creating progress. They're getting stuck. They're not moving. Same as the Amish, same as the Mormons. They think it's best to stay sort of as they are, but realistically, it's damaging to them. And nothing else can do that to such an extreme than religion can. When you have this deity presence, you can so obey and abide that just makes sense to drag you so far from actual living. They find ways to justify it and to clarify and make sense and accept this system because of their God or their Yahweh or whatever they may have. That is their reason. That's why they think this is right, and there's nothing else in this world that could do this on such an extreme, even on a littler extreme. Nothing else could do this. Nothing comes close. And that's just one of the 1,000 million ways and reasons why religion is the most fascinating, perplexing, and damaging thing to humanity. There's nothing else more prevalent to human condition, more constructive on human. When religion is in the mind of a person, that mind instantly is pliable, it is malleable, you can do whatever because of Big Sky Daddy. Only religion can do that. And extreme religion, well, I like to say devotion is damaging. which, I mean, if you look on these examples, for the amount of negatives, there's a lot less positives. So that's just my 2 cents. Honestly, it's crazy how divided we can become because of concepts, of social constructs, of books with no credibility. It's insane, and I will never get it, and I will never understand how people can get used to that and justify that. Maybe that's because I'm not religious and I don't have the right mind workings for that, but I could never, and how they do it escapes me. But if it works for them, which I don't really think it does, but if it works for them and if they think it works and they're not just living in this fearful acceptance that it does work, it has to work, then good on them. But I don't think there are very many people out there like that living in these communities. I think they live a lot in fear and acceptance and threat of consequence if they do anything else, anything other, which makes it quite sad, honestly. It's sad, it's weird, terrifying, perplexing, fascinating, frustrating, confusing as hell, and that's about it.